Chosen one, God left this final note for you. Final message to chosen ones. Something very gentle yet deeply urgent is reaching toward your heart right now, and if you allow these words to settle quietly within your spirit, you may receive a comfort and reassurance that was prepared for you long before this moment arrived. This message carries the warmth of heaven and the tenderness of divine love, and it has come at the precise time your soul needed to hear it most. The world around you may feel loud, restless, and uncertain, yet the voice of God remains calm, steady, and faithful, guiding you toward hope and renewal. Those who are truly listening with an open heart will recognize that this moment is not ordinary, because God sometimes leaves quiet reminders that arrive exactly when His chosen ones begin to feel weary or overlooked. If these words resonate gently within your spirit, and you believe that God still guides His children with love and purpose, type Amen. The message you are receiving now is not wrapped in thunder or fire, but in a quiet and loving assurance that your life has never been forgotten by the one who formed you with careful hands and endless compassion. Even during seasons when you felt unnoticed or uncertain about your direction, heaven continued to watch over every step you took and every silent tear you tried to hide from the world. The love of God does not fade when days become difficult, and it does not withdraw when human strength feels small and fragile. Instead, that love grows closer, gently reminding the heart that it was created to walk with faith and courage, even through moments that seemed heavy with doubt. If these words bring comfort to your heart, and you feel grateful for the quiet faithfulness of God guiding your life, please take a moment to like this video, so this encouragement can reach others who may also be waiting for hope today. The final note God leaves for His chosen ones is not filled with fear or warning, but with a tender promise that the journey of faith is never walked alone. Jesus Christ walked among people who felt lost, broken, and forgotten, yet He always carried compassion that lifted weary hearts and restored their sense of belonging. His presence reminded people that God does not measure worth by worldly success or outward strength, but by the quiet faith that continues to believe even during difficult seasons. Every act of kindness, every whispered prayer, and every moment of patience becomes part of a story that heaven carefully remembers. Many chosen hearts spend years wondering whether their struggles mean they have somehow failed or drifted away from the path God intended for them. Yet the truth carried in this gentle message is far more comforting than those fears ever allowed them to believe. God sees the effort hidden behind every ordinary day, and He notices the quiet courage that keeps moving forward even when the road seems uncertain and long. What may appear small to the world is often precious in the sight of heaven, because love, patience, and compassion carry a beauty that never fades. Jesus showed this truth through the way He welcomed those who felt unseen and unheard by society. He sat beside those who believed their lives held little value, and with simple words and compassionate presence, He restored dignity to hearts that had nearly lost hope. That same kindness continues to flow through the spirit of faith today, touching the lives of those who quietly continue trusting God despite life's storms and disappointments. The chosen ones often walk through seasons of silence because their strength is being shaped in ways the world cannot easily recognize. There are moments when faith grows quietly beneath the surface, much like a seed resting beneath the soil during the cold months of winter. The seed may appear hidden and forgotten, yet it is slowly gathering the strength needed to rise toward the light when the proper time arrives. In the same way, the heart that continues trusting God during silent seasons is preparing for a renewal that will eventually bloom with peace and purpose. God's timing often moves gently rather than quickly, yet it never forgets the promises written into the lives of those who remain faithful. If you believe that God's timing is always guided by love and wisdom, type 1111. This final note carries a reminder that the life of a chosen soul is not defined by moments of struggle, but by the enduring grace that continues to rise after each challenge passes. Jesus taught people to live with hearts that forgive, encourage, and uplift others, because love is the language that heaven understands most clearly. When a person chooses kindness even after experiencing hardship, they reflect the gentle strength that Christ revealed through his own life. That quiet strength becomes a light that helps others find their way through darkness. God's message to his chosen ones is simple yet powerful, reminding them that their lives have meaning even during the quiet chapters that seem unnoticed by the world. The Creator who shaped the stars and seas also understands the smallest emotions carried inside the human heart, and nothing within that heart escapes his loving attention. Even the moments when faith felt fragile were seen and held with patience by a God who never abandons his children. The story of faith has always been built from small acts of trust, repeated day after day, long before any visible miracle appeared. A gentle prayer whispered before sleep, a hopeful thought rising during a difficult morning, or a quiet decision to forgive someone who caused pain, all become seeds of grace planted along life's path. Over time, those seeds begin to grow into peace, resilience, and a deeper understanding of the love that Jesus shared with the world. The chosen ones are not perfect people living flawless lives, but hearts that continue turning toward God even when circumstances feel confusing or heavy. Their strength is not loud or boastful, because it comes from a quiet trust that the love of Christ remains steady in every season. That trust slowly transforms fear into courage and loneliness into companionship with the divine presence that never leaves. A newly revealed second brainwave method, backed by neuroscience and once hidden in classified documents, is helping thousands activate their brain's wealth setting. People refer to it as the money magnet sound because of how quickly it appears to attract abundance. Click the link in the description and comments below to awaken the prosperity already within you. This final note is therefore not an ending, but a gentle reassurance that your path continues beneath the watchful care of a loving Father. The compassion of Jesus still reaches those who feel tired, and the grace of God continues renewing every heart that chooses hope instead of despair. What lies ahead carries possibilities shaped by faith, patience, and the quiet confidence that heaven has never stopped guiding your steps. Many people expect God's voice to arrive with great noise or dramatic signs, yet his most precious reminders often appear in moments of stillness when the soul is finally ready to receive comfort. The message carried in this sacred moment is simple and reassuring, telling every chosen heart that their life has never wandered outside the loving awareness of heaven. There were seasons when you walked through days that felt unusually heavy, where the path ahead looked uncertain and the silence around you felt deeper than you expected. During those moments you may have wondered why certain prayers seemed to take longer than hoped, or why doors you believed were meant for you quietly remained closed. Yet even while those questions lingered in your mind, the love of God continued working gently behind the scenes, arranging small blessings and quiet protections that often passed unnoticed. What appeared to be delay was often preparation, shaping your heart with patience and wisdom that would later become a source of strength. The life of a chosen one is rarely simple, because it carries a purpose that grows slowly and carefully over time. God does not rush the development of a heart that he intends to use for compassion, encouragement, and light in the lives of others. Just as a tree requires seasons of rain, sunlight, and even storms to grow deep roots, The soul also develops through moments of both comfort and challenge. Every experience, whether joyful or difficult, becomes part of a larger story that God is patiently writing through your life. Jesus often walked beside people whose hearts were burdened with quiet struggles that no one else seemed to notice. He understood the silent worries carried within them, and his presence brought calm reassurance that their lives mattered more than they realized. When Jesus spoke to the weary and discouraged, his words were never harsh or demanding, but gentle and filled with hope that lifted their spirits. That same compassion continues to flow today, reaching those who still believe that God's love remains active and present in their lives. Chosen one, the final note left for you carries a reminder that heaven sees every effort you make to live with kindness and faith. Even when the world moves quickly and rarely pauses to appreciate small acts of goodness, God observes them with deep gratitude and delight. A quiet prayer offered in the middle of an ordinary day, a moment of patience when frustration would have been easier, or a kind gesture towards someone who needed encouragement becomes deeply meaningful in the eyes of heaven. These small actions reflect the heart of Christ, whose life was built upon humility, compassion, and steady love for others. Many chosen souls spend years believing that their quiet faith is not strong enough or important enough to make a difference. They see others whose voices seem louder or whose lives appear more successful, and they begin to wonder whether their own journey holds the same value. Yet God measures a life very differently than the world does, because heaven treasures sincerity and love above recognition or applause. A humble heart that continues trusting God through uncertainty carries a beauty that cannot be measured by outward achievements. The message unfolding here gently reminds you that your faith has been growing even during seasons when you believed nothing was changing. Like a candle glowing softly in a dark room, your trust in God has continued shining even when circumstances felt discouraging. Every moment you chose hope instead of bitterness, patience instead of anger, and compassion instead of indifference strengthened that light within you. Over time, that quiet light becomes strong enough to guide others who are searching for comfort and direction. If your heart believes that God has been guiding your steps, even during the quiet seasons of life, type 2323. There is a peaceful truth hidden within the journey of faith that many people only discover after years of reflection. The moments that once seemed confusing or disappointing often reveal themselves as gentle redirections leading towards something far more meaningful. God's guidance sometimes appears subtle, closing certain paths so that better ones may eventually open. When those new paths appear, the heart begins to recognize that every step was carefully watched over with wisdom and love. Jesus showed people that God's plans are not limited by human expectations or timelines. When others doubted, he remained calm and confident in the goodness of his Father's purpose. His life demonstrated that love, patience, and faithfulness carry a power that slowly transforms even the most uncertain circumstances. By living with humility and compassion, Jesus revealed that the greatest strength comes from trusting God's wisdom rather than relying only on human understanding. Chosen one, the note God leaves for you is filled with encouragement for the road ahead. It reminds you that the chapters still waiting to unfold in your life hold possibilities that are brighter than anything your worries have imagined. Your story is not defined by past disappointments or seasons of waiting, because God continues shaping your future with care and intention. Even the experiences that once felt painful have quietly prepared your heart to carry deeper compassion and wisdom. As time moves forward, you may begin noticing small signs of renewal appearing in places that once felt empty. A sense of peace may arrive unexpectedly during a quiet moment of reflection, or a new opportunity may gently open where you once believed nothing could grow. These moments are not coincidences, because they reflect the steady work of a loving God who never abandons the lives He has chosen to guide. Each step forward becomes part of a journey that slowly reveals the beauty of divine patience and grace. A 7-second brainwave practice, once reserved for select circles and concealed in classified files, has now been made public, and many describe it as the 30-second miracle. Experts say it awakens a dormant brain center connected to wealth and blessings. Click the link in the comments below before it is taken down from the internet again. Faith does not always remove difficulties immediately, yet it fills the heart with courage to continue moving through them with hope. Jesus showed this courage during moments when His own path became challenging, trusting that God's love would ultimately bring redemption and healing. His example continues, inspiring those who choose faith, even when circumstances appear uncertain. By following that gentle example, chosen hearts learn that strength grows quietly through perseverance and trust. If you trust that Jesus continues walking beside you through every season of life, type 1212. The final note God leaves for His chosen ones is therefore a message of peace rather than pressure. It reassures the heart that every sincere step of faith matters, even when progress feels slow or unnoticed. Heaven celebrates the quiet victories that occur within the soul, because they reveal a heart that continues turning toward love and goodness. Over time, these quiet victories become the foundation of a life filled with purpose and compassion. Your journey continues under the watchful care of a God who delights in seeing His children grow in kindness and faith. The teachings of Jesus remain a guiding light that gently points toward forgiveness, humility, and love for others. By holding on to these truths, the chosen ones discover that their lives become living reflections of the grace they have received. The story of faith continues unfolding with every act of hope and every moment of trust placed in the hands of God. When heaven speaks to the heart, it does not rush or force understanding, but patiently allows truth to settle like warm sunlight reaching a quiet room after a long night. In that light, the chosen ones begin to realize that the path they have walked was never random or forgotten, but carefully watched and lovingly guided through every season. There were days when the road felt lonely and the future appeared hidden behind uncertainty, yet even during those moments, the presence of God continued walking beside you. Sometimes that presence revealed itself through a small sense of peace during prayer, or through a gentle reminder that tomorrow could still hold unexpected goodness. These quiet signs may have seemed simple at the time, but they carried the steady reassurance that heaven had not stepped away from your life. The chosen ones often experience seasons where faith must grow quietly beneath the surface, because deep spiritual strength develops slowly through patience and trust. The note that God leaves for His chosen ones speaks with a calm voice that encourages perseverance rather than fear. It reminds the heart that every moment spent holding on to faith becomes a seed planted into the soil of a greater future. The life of Jesus Christ beautifully reflected this truth through the way He lived, with unwavering love, even when the world around Him struggled to understand His purpose. He walked among people who carried heavy burdens, and with compassion and patience, He restored hope to hearts that believed their story had already ended. Jesus understood that human hearts often feel overwhelmed by disappointment and doubt, yet He continually offered reassurance that God's love is stronger than any moment of discouragement. His presence reminded people that even when circumstances appear uncertain, the grace of heaven continues quietly, working in ways that human eyes may not immediately see. The chosen ones who continue trusting through those uncertain seasons are often being prepared for moments of renewal that arrive with gentle beauty. God never forgets the hearts that continue believing in His goodness. Every step taken with faith becomes meaningful in the eyes of heaven, even when that step feels small or unnoticed by others. There are countless moments in life when kindness, patience, and forgiveness require more courage than the world understands. When a chosen heart decides to show compassion instead of resentment, that decision reflects the Spirit of Christ living within them. Those moments may pass quietly in daily life, yet they shine brightly in the presence of God who values every act of love. Many chosen ones spend years wondering whether their struggles mean that something has gone wrong in their journey of faith. They look back at the paths they walked and question why certain hopes seemed delayed or why some relationships or dreams faded away. Yet the truth revealed by God's gentle note is far more comforting than those worries. Every experience, even the painful ones, has been shaping a heart capable of deeper empathy, wisdom, and understanding. If your heart believes that God can transform difficult seasons into moments of growth and renewal, type 2020. Life often teaches its most valuable lessons through seasons of waiting, because patience creates room for the soul to grow stronger and wiser. During those quiet seasons, faith becomes less about immediate answers and more about trusting the goodness of God's character. Jesus lived with that same trust, demonstrating that a life guided by love and humility holds a power greater than any temporary hardship. His teachings encouraged people to see beyond their fears and recognize that God's plans always lead toward healing and restoration. The chosen ones who receive this final note are reminded that their lives are not defined by moments of weakness or doubt. Instead, their story is shaped by the grace that continues lifting them each time they choose hope over despair. God sees every time you stood up again after disappointment tried to convince you that your journey had reached its end. Heaven celebrates those quiet victories because they reveal a heart that refuses to give up on faith. Sometimes the greatest miracles appear in forms that are simple and gentle rather than dramatic. A new sense of peace may slowly replace the anxiety that once filled your thoughts, or a new opportunity may quietly appear after a long period of waiting. These moments reflect the careful timing of God, who understands exactly when the heart is ready to receive what it has been hoping for. His wisdom moves with perfect patience, arranging events in ways that eventually reveal a beautiful pattern of purpose. Jesus often reminded people that the kingdom of God grows like a seed planted in fertile soil. The seed begins small and hidden, yet within it rests the potential for life and beauty that will eventually rise into the light. In the same way, the faith planted inside your heart carries a promise that continues unfolding day by day. Even when the progress feels slow, God's presence is nurturing that seed with love and guidance. A rare 7-second morning ritual previously hidden in classified documents is re-emerging, and people are already sharing accounts of swift financial advancement. It takes almost no time, yet it triggers a dormant wealth switch in the brain that most people never use. Click the link in the description and comments now to access it before it vanishes. The note left for the chosen ones therefore carries a message of reassurance that the future is not empty or uncertain. Instead, it holds possibilities shaped by faith, compassion, and the quiet strength developed through past experiences. Every challenge that once seemed overwhelming has prepared your heart to walk with greater wisdom and courage. The love of God transforms those experiences into stepping stones leading toward a more meaningful path. There will be moments ahead when the peace of Christ begins to feel stronger than the worries that once filled your thoughts. That peace will remind you that God's promises are not fragile hopes, but living truths that continue guiding your life forward. When the heart learns to rest within that peace, it becomes easier to trust that each new day carries a purpose carefully prepared by heaven. Faith then becomes a steady companion rather than a distant idea. If you trust that God is gently guiding your life toward a future filled with hope and purpose, type yes. The final note continues, reminding the chosen ones that they are never expected to walk their journey alone. The presence of Jesus remains a comforting light that shines through every moment of uncertainty. His life showed that humility, kindness, and forgiveness carry a strength capable of healing hearts and restoring broken spirits. When you choose to follow that gentle example, your own life begins reflecting the same grace that once touched the lives of those who walked beside him. Over time, the quiet strength growing within your heart will begin touching the lives of others in ways you may not immediately notice. A word of encouragement spoken at the right moment may restore someone's hope, and a small act of compassion may remind another person that goodness still exists in the world. These simple actions become powerful because they reflect the love of God working through a willing heart. The chosen ones often influence others not through grand gestures but through steady kindness that quietly spreads light. As the quiet message from God continues to reach the hearts of his chosen ones, another beautiful truth begins to unfold with gentle clarity. The final note left by heaven was never meant to create fear or pressure within the soul, but to awaken a deeper awareness that your life carries meaning far beyond what your eyes have been able to see so far. Many chosen hearts walk through years believing their path is ordinary or unnoticed, yet God sees their journey through a much wider and loving perspective. Every moment of patience, every act of kindness, and every quiet prayer becomes part of a sacred story that heaven carefully preserves. There are seasons when life feels slow and uncertain, where progress appears invisible and the future seems hidden behind a curtain of unanswered hopes. During those moments, the heart can easily become discouraged, especially when comparing its journey to others who appear to move forward more quickly. Yet the wisdom of God works in a different rhythm than the hurried pace of the world. What feels like delay often becomes preparation, shaping a heart that will eventually carry deeper compassion and stronger faith. Jesus revealed this beautiful truth through the way he lived and served people during his time on earth. He did not rush through life chasing recognition or worldly success, but instead walked patiently among those who needed love, healing, and understanding. His calm presence reminded people that the greatest strength is found in humility and kindness rather than power or status. The peace that surrounded him flowed from his deep trust in the goodness of God's purpose. Chosen one, the final note left for you gently reminds your heart that heaven has always been guiding your steps, even during the days when you felt uncertain about where life was leading. There were moments when disappointment tried to convince you that your efforts were unnoticed, yet God saw every quiet act of perseverance that others overlooked. Each time you chose to continue believing in goodness despite discouragement, your faith grew stronger and more beautiful. Heaven treasures those moments because they reveal a heart that refuses to abandon hope. Many people assume that chosen lives must always appear strong and confident, yet the truth is far more comforting and human. Even the most faithful hearts experience seasons of doubt, weariness, and confusion while walking their spiritual path. God never turns away from those moments of weakness because he understands the fragile nature of human emotions and struggles. Instead of judgment, he responds with patience and gentle reassurance that faith can continue growing through every challenge. There is a quiet promise carried within this sacred reminder, telling the chosen ones that their story is still unfolding with meaning and purpose. Just as the sunrise slowly brightens the sky after a long night, the light of God's guidance begins revealing new possibilities when the heart least expects them. Some blessings arrive softly, disguised as simple opportunities or peaceful realizations that gradually change the direction of life. These moments become signs that heaven continues, working quietly behind the scenes. If your heart believes that God has been protecting and guiding your life even through seasons of uncertainty, type 1919. The path of faith often requires patience because true spiritual strength grows gradually rather than instantly. Jesus demonstrated this patience throughout his life, trusting that every moment held meaning within the greater plan of God. Even when others misunderstood his actions or questioned his purpose, he remained calm and steadfast in love. His example teaches that the heart anchored in faith does not lose its direction, even when circumstances appear confusing. Chosen ones are often prepared through experiences that shape their understanding of compassion and forgiveness. Difficult moments soften the heart and create the ability to understand the pain of others with genuine empathy. This transformation becomes one of the quiet miracles of faith, turning past struggles into sources of wisdom and kindness. Over time, the chosen heart begins to realize that nothing it endured was truly wasted, because every experience contributed to its growth. God's final note carries encouragement for those who sometimes feel tired from carrying responsibilities, worries, and expectations throughout their journey. Heaven understands the weight that life can place upon the human spirit, and it offers rest through the gentle presence of divine love. When the heart pauses to remember that God is walking beside it, the burden begins to feel lighter and the future appears more hopeful. Faith becomes a quiet refuge where strength is renewed. What if abundance had always been influenced by a hidden brain signal, buried in classified records and never fully disclosed to the public? This frequency is now creating new pathways, attracting opportunities, and reshaping lives faster than expected. Thousands are already using it to draw wealth like never before. Click the link in the description and comments now and activate the money-attracting brainwave today. There will be moments ahead when clarity begins to replace the confusion that once filled your thoughts. Paths that once seemed closed may suddenly open with new possibilities, and relationships or opportunities may appear that bring unexpected joy. These changes often arrive quietly rather than dramatically, yet they carry the unmistakable peace that comes from God's guidance. The chosen ones begin recognizing that their patience has been preparing them for these new chapters. Jesus often encouraged people to look beyond fear and trust that God's love remains constant even when life feels uncertain. His words and actions revealed that divine grace does not disappear during difficult times, but becomes even closer to those who need comfort and strength. By following his example, the chosen ones learn to approach life with humility, compassion, and trust. These qualities slowly transform their journey into a testimony of quiet faith. The note left for you continues reminding your heart that the future is not empty or uncertain, but filled with possibilities shaped by the love of God. Every prayer you have whispered, and every moment you chose kindness, has created ripples that extend further than you realize.